Ladies and gentlemen, a lovely day to all our active members, enthusiastic attendees, and learning searchers. Despite the fact that we are from different regions of the world, this activity brings us all together. Welcome to the Institute of Global Professionals, where you may feed your skills, innovate, inspire, and make an impact. I'll be your host for the evening, Lursha L. Pelaez from New Era University, Quezon City, Philippines, one of the pioneers who embraces new modalities in facing the new normal. We believe that sharing knowledge and adapting the challenges of learning gives people more strength. We hope that all of you will be affiliated with IGP as a global member. Please join us for the rest of the webinars. Check in on the IGP page, make a recommendation, and tell your friends about it. You can also like and comment on our webinar at any moment. Remember to tag and share your friends and community. Let us first learn more about IGP before we begin our program. IGP is a global professional institution that serves as a resource for students and community, as well as providing holistic social work and education to develop a skilled generation. Our mission is to empower people and improve the effectiveness of training and consultation around the world. We organize our webinars, trainings, offline and online courses with the best and most experienced speakers and coaches to provide you with the best learning platform. IGP is a social organization as well as an ISO certified training and education institute, internationally recognized, worldwide accreditation of more than 100 countries, 100 professions, and 3,000 organizations. 700 plus speakers are expected. We have made a commitment to serve you. We hope that all of the webinars will be effective to your professional growth, and we hope that you will take part on us in this long journey. Let me remind you again to please share, tag, and comment because your support motivates us to do better and provide better service to all of you. For the certificate, please go to www.edu.igp courses International Political Economy and then click Enroll Now. This is the same link that can be used to get certified. However, only after the live program. You will need a code to claim your certificate, which we will only share during our live program. To stir up your interest, you can participate in all of our free international webinars via our official Facebook page, group, and YouTube channel. All active participants will receive an ISO verified e certificate. We are delighted to welcome you all to this magnificent event. It will provide us the perfect opportunity to welcome this event. Let us all welcome today's speaker from the Philippines, Professor Bob A. Aguilar. Hi,
Hello.
welcome to
Can
our
I?
event.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for having me here. So can I share my screen now?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay. One minute.
Your screen is ready, sir. Yay.
Okay. Okay. How about?
Sir, make it
Sir,
full screen. Sir, make it full screen. You can do that on display setting.
I think Sir has an internet problem.
Yes, most probably.
All right, so while we're waiting for Sir Bob to return in our webinar, you can share and tag this live webinar to your friends and community. All right, so to all our active participants, maybe you can let us introduce and know each other. So please type your full name and then the school where you are residing or location. So full name and then your location while we're waiting for Sir Bob Aguilar. All right, so just type your full name so all of you will be recognized. Thank you so much for always being with us, all our top fans. Jules De La Torre, Ma'am Leia Octoman, Ma'am Nympha Abawag, Elvino Olmontalvo, thank you so much. Ana Marie Joy Alcance. So while we're waiting, let me shout all your names because we are very proud that you're always staying with IGP. Sir Nur Famadini Alonto, Ginalyn Villar, Kate Sarosa, welcome and good evening, but we have to wait for Sir Bob. And Ma'am Julie Tiberio Valencia, Ma'am Nilomar Mercado from New Era University, Sir A.K.
Yeah.
Adhikari. Hey, sir, welcome.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
It's okay, sir. We understand.
I'm having a technical problem.
Yes, Ma'am Carmela Jean, great evening too.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Can you make it full screen?
Yeah, it's full screen now. Is
All
it
right.
okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So again, let's give it up for Professor Bob Aguilar.
Okay, so welcome
Those,
everyone. So
Sir.
it's not in
yeah.
full screen. Make it full screen from display setting. At the top,
Right.
you can see display setting. Yes, duplicate slideshow.
This one.
Yes, right
Yes,
now.
that's
Yes.
right. Thank you, sir. All right. I think there's a technical issue again, sir. Sir Aguilar, Sir Bob, Sir Bob. We are very sorry for this inconvenience. I think Sir Bob has technical issue again. All right, so let me acknowledge all the participants again. Thank you for staying. We hope that you will be patient in waiting, Sir Bob, and we are hoping that you understand the technical issue right now. So thank you so much to all. Thank you, Ma'am Michelle Gasser, Ma'am Joy de los Reyes Licatan, Maria Teresa Yambao, May Digpin Olavides. So for today's webinar, we will be preparing some study or some overview about international political economy. So, when we say international political economy, it is the study of how politics shapes the global economy and how the global economy shapes politics. So, it's a subfield of economics. So, this is just an overview because we are all waiting for Sir Bob. So maybe let's have the chance to get to know each other by typing your full name and then the school where you came from. So I'm happy to know another technical problem. Yes, Sir Elmar Moralde. Hello, Marjorie Dayan Ong from FINMA, University of Pangasinan. Watching from Libertad Antique, RJ Arsage. Ma'am Nilomar Mercado from the Quezon City New Era University. Hi, Ma'am Nilo. Christy Victoria Denzon from Leyden Normal University. Sir Elmer Moralde, may I ask how can I download my series of certificate? Oh, sorry. I think you have to get enrolled with all the past event. And if you already have the code, you can claim the certificate from www.eduigp.com and the name of the live program, the title of the program. All right, thank you, Nano here. All right, so maybe while we are waiting, maybe you can prepare a question about international political economy. All right, so I think there's still a problem. We hope that it will be fixed very soon. So good evening also, Lilibet Betchay Castañeda. Jerry Estrada, you're from Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia students. Wow, from New Era University also. Hi, Sir Jerry, nice to meet you. Donna J. Villamar from the Philippines. Thank you, Ma'am Julie Valencia. All right, so to all our enthusiastic attendees, why don't you type what are you expecting in this webinar? Except that we are patiently waiting. Sir. Hi, sir.
Okay. I think I have problem with my connection. I don't know what happened. Here.
Oh, yes. Students are here. That's great. Hey, sir. Once again, Sir Bob Aguilar.
Okay, I'm really really sorry for interruption. So today basically I am teaching. I'm bachelor, so I'm basically teaching. I'm graduate actually and also masters with social sciences. So I'm currently connected. So with Philippine Community for Academic Servants. So as a chairman and president, also I'm a university professor. So my master is about research, political science, public administration, and I do general education lecture at the same time. I'm also a professional human resource with I with international license, so I do some labor services here in the Philippines. So basically today I don't want to to discuss much about my qualifications. So today I'm going to discuss about international political economy. So basically, if we're talking about international political economy, so it comes in our mind that politics shapes the global economy. At the same time, global economy shapes politics. So this is if we're talking about business, international political economy. In academic perspective, political influence on economics. However, the political science, okay, will get different perspective. From this perspective, we can say that politics has a great role in economic life, in the study of international political economy. So, from this, if we're talking here about buying and selling of goods and services across different borders. Okay, so the flow of investment around the world, the wealth or poverty of regions and nations, the way that in which economic power influences the political relationship among the different states. So from this perspective, so we can say that the perspective of political leaders. Okay, imagine that you are the president or the prime minister of any country. So basically, you need to consider the two major issues. First is what? The nation's wealth. So how are you going to manage and also how you are going to design this what? The policy for your own state. And another one is what? The design policies that spread out the prosperity of your people, okay, of your constituents. So in theory, you must do that, re-elected, or if you are going in a democratic state, basically. So the authoritarian state, you need to what? You need to enrich yourself. It's because, okay, the nation's resources, people works to make the to make yourself wealthy. So from the different perspective, in scholars perspective, the political leaders what step in, okay, first step to answering the questions of what is the proper role in government in economic activity, basically. So what is that? If you're the president, what is your economic activity during your leadership? So basically, what is the involvement of your government through what? The international arena, and also the economic growth of your state. So you need to consider what? Then to make your nations more wealthier in terms of different what? Areas, learnings, corporations, and other perspectives. Basically, the IPE. The IPE is a mixed international relation, mixed concept of international relations and political economy. So there is a gap between economics and political science. So basically, the international relations is interact between two or more nations. But theory of international political economy basically provides different way in answering the questions. So we can say, or we can provide a framework through which what? Analyze everything from different phenomena, from different problems. So there are a lot of theories regarding about political economics, but the major theories that we need to consider is basically there are four. But later I'm going to discuss about these theories. So I'm going to discuss each theories about IPE. So basically, the scope of IPE is what? Political economy of international trade, international finance, and what? And international relation, the multi-cooperation, basically, and also the leadership. Okay, the leadership of every state. Okay, now in terms of theories, this is I'm only going to discuss about the four. So basically, the first one is economic liberalism. So in terms of economic liberalism, we call it this theory is actually a kind of liberalism. Okay, or we can say this is kind of globalism or internationalism. Hello.
Sir, we can still hear you. There's
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I thought I lost again, so that's why I
no,
need
it's
to check. Yeah, that's why I need to check. I need to check my, you know, my connection if still I'm in, I'm in the world.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're still in the world.
Basically, what I'm trying to say about economic liberalism is something about, this is the wealth of nations. So according to Adam Smith, so basically the theories of liberalism were actually stated by best described by Adam Smith, which is the wealth of nations that he wrote in 1776. So basically, this key national wealth, and therefore the national power is economic growth. So that's according to Adam Smith. Wherein the key of economic growth is what? Free trade. So the economic liberalism theory is basically encourages or promotes the free trade, wherein the flow of goods and services and investment across different borders. So the political leaders should what? Should maximize, should allow the trade between one nations to another. To what? To what? To keep the government intervention and what? Trade down the nation, the minimum at least. So this means that imports from, I can say that products from other countries and companies. So we need to sold it to other nations. So while export is actually product from nations to other countries. So basically, there is what should be flourished with a little restriction as possible, because every trade we need to impose what the country need to impose restrictions. So basically, the liberal want the marketplace to make economic decisions. So basically, no, liberalism is the mindset of liberalism is basically that no, we are people. So basically, we can decide. Okay, not the government can decide. So basically, this is the perspective of liberalism. However, here's the problem about liberals, basically. So the government have several tools, right? So have several tools that they use actually to interfere or to influence the flow of trade. So basically about tariff, okay, about the quotas and non-tariff barriers and others, basically. So let's talk about tariff first. So basically, the instance of government might impose 10% on foreign what of basically if we foreign shoes, let's say foreign products. So being okay sold in what, for example, in Philippines or in US. So if that 10% from specific amount is basically added to what, to a suggested retail price. So basically we're talking here about a tariff that imposed the government imposed to what, to the certain product, to the foreign product. So basically, if 10% from specific amount is let's assume, okay, let's assume that the product is actually $40, then the 10% of it is what. So basically it's something about what, 4%, right? So 4%. Now, this 4% is actually the tariff that products that enters into a marketplace. So therefore, at 10% is a low. Actually, that's only low. That's only my example. But if we're going to take into a reality, so the tariff percentage is not only at 10%. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, the market product added the percentage from the government is basically impose it as a tariff percentage added to what, to a value of a specific shoe. So let's assume that you sell or we sell a pair of shoes. So basically, we sell a pair of shoes of $100. So basically, so there is also a foreign shoe, okay, foreign shoe of, let's call it a Bab shoes, okay, Babs Shoes Corporation. So let's say the state A or country A, basically a foreign country, and make it a shoes, ships it across to the Pacific and into the Bab shoes or foreign shoes, basically pay the worker less, okay, or has some new process technologies to make to make it cheaper. So basically, China produce more cheaper than other countries. So basically, that is the idea. Now, we want to protect the local business from foreign competition. So there are let's say there are 3,000 jobs, the 3,000 Bob shoes jobs produced in a specific year in a particular. So now, of course, they politicians or the leaders may actually think different way because business is actually can control politicians or the leadership of what of any country. So basically, so that's what I'm trying to say is when you get a target, or let's assume that you actually you actually impose tax, and then the business get out. It's because the tax is too much high, basically. So the investor will not, put money and invest to your, to specific to your state, to your country, because the tariff percentage is not acceptable to them. So now, not according to liberals, because liberals says is different, because no one believes, okay, no one lives, happily ever after. Here's that because the liberals, okay, say that the $10 is more, the $10 of each pair is not only that, but the company shoes raised what a price of what 105 a box, and it will still cheaper than other foreign shoes. Or what the company shoes has been rewarded to its insufficiency, and also it could compete against the foreign shoes, the local versus foreign shoes, but it is rewarded for that. So another one is the foreign company or foreign shoes, okay, is what punished by being efficiency, and it was winning the a competition, but win getting what punished through what political deal. So there is a political deal, and essentially it is like that they imagine a fast spender who what wins every race. So someone decide it's unfair, not for him, and when many races because of because of some or other spender, but it's a forest of spinners what wait for slow down him. So basically, okay, ultimately liberals argue this without what competition and winners and losers. You will not have an economic growth if you have well, if you not have innovate. So this is the liberal perspective. So basically, you need what you will not have the progress if what local shoes or foreign shoes punished because what the winning, and then they should what they should go the company try to win in a public bidding or what or in a specific competition, right? So in this situation, we can get innovation and excellence to cut, to cut the price competition. So creates new ideas, new things for consumers. Here, here are some getting better product for low price and get, it is the goal of the government to provide what welfare to people, and also the like, and also acceptable at price, suggested retail price of any product. Now the quotas, okay, do same thing with a different way. Let's say that the U.S. or there are 1 million boxes of 1 million boxes of chalk sold to annually, and then I have no idea how much chalk is sold in specific country. So it might be 1 million for only 100,000, 1 million product of chalks for only 100,000, or what goes to a different way. Basically, the company market share another way, but for non-tariff barriers, okay, there are ways of keeping our foreign products through what through other nations. For example, For example, declare that a foreign product actually meet some what the standard imposed just to keep out the foreign product in the specific country. There are also outright bans, so simply saying that the foreign product cannot be sold in a specific country. So nations around the world do these things. Okay, liberals generally hate them because what? Because they impede economic growth. So if we are actually discourage excellence and innovation, what they make what consumers pay more and what inferior products. So basically, what liberals want who want this is because all economic decisions should be made by what marketplace in a fair marketplace. So while the national economic nationalism is basically what different things different way. Why? Because the economic nationalism is actually, we can say, another so-called a neo-mercantilism. So the economic nationalism could develop theoretically as a criticism of liberalism. So this is based on three ideas. So first is what the state compete economically. So this is a very what different from liberal, because liberal believe that companies compete economically, but states do not. So basically, this is another one. Another ideas is what free trade only benefit the wealthiest and most advanced nations. So this is the head-to-head competition from uh, from free trade. Okay, and the advanced nation also defeat the less less advanced nation. So basically, this is the idea. And the last one is actually the less advanced nation. What there is needs for what alternative way to what to getting rich. So free trade won't lead what riches. This is based on what economic nationalism. So the main theories of this national, economic nationalism is prominent by Alexander Hamilton and also the Friedrich, right? The Friedrich, because they are they wrote they wrote the national or the national system of political economy, and also they wrote the report of subject for manufacturers. So basically, the Hamilton and also the Friedrich. So while the Hamilton is actually was writing, okay, was writing the early stage of U.S. independence, and he is actually concerned with how the U.S. might structure its economy to make sure that the U.S. remain independent. So basically, during that time, the U.S. is have struggling with powers. So now Hamilton is actually critically think that U.S. need to become independent. So how the U.S. become will going to become independent? Basically, the U.S. might need structuring for its economy to make sure that the U.S. will remain independent. So from that argument, so the independence to become industrial. So now the US is actually thinking, no, we need to become industrial. It's because we need to become independent. So at that time, okay, Jefferson argued that the U.S. would like to become, better nations for farmers, while Hamilton said that no, nations of farmers would lose the next war with the European power because what? Because it could not produce what the manufactured goods like housing, clothing, particularly goods, and other force weapons. So US has actually needed its independence from British economy for many what manufactured item. So basically what the US need its what independence on British economy for many manufactured what would not own. would that win by using economic embargo against the US? So obviously, if the US cannot feed itself for what independence from Britain, so required economic independence from Britain. So basically, that is the whole point. Okay, that is the whole point. And now Hamilton is actually very what try to answer the question, the problem, which is trying to analyze how to protect the infant industry from foreign competition. So basically, the protectionist consist for using what tariff quotas, non-tariff, and also some barriers in every state. So whatever means possible to protect key industries. Basically, importantly, this does not mean that what ending trade with what other nations. It's because what protecting protecting industries that are identified as being crucial to national power, for example Japan, okay, which has had nationalist economy policy since World War II. So the trade with the US, okay, but has pushed to what? To automobiles, okay, US consumers, electronics and other US telecommunications out in the market. It's because Japan could build its own industries in those areas. So the US actually, liberal nations allow Japanese companies, okay, to export the US and resulted to what? But the US consumer electronics industry essentially died, okay, due to Japan's success of its product. Okay, now the US has actually had to restrict the sales of Japanese cars and in their country. So there is a US in retaliation to keep US market, auto market, and collapse from what? From from economy. So, but US actually is a huge exception in typical policies. So there are a lot of US um, good thinker about the creating about policy. So policy. So basically, so nationalist is actually this is the evidence that wisdom of their policies to protect its industry from foreign competition and prospered, while the liberal is actually so that industry's founder to liberal is what you win some and you lose some, but the U.S. companies would have better prepared for face Japanese competition. So the Japanese is more prepared than U.S. In this perspective. When the less advanced economy is actually catch up with what advanced economy, then it can open free trade and compete head to head as equals. So basically now the national organization, okay, the national in a particular in a particular nationalist view, okay, the national powers, okay, or the foreign national corporation is actually operating in nations competitors to to different industries. They weaken actually the nations in different industries, keep them out with with key sectors in terms of economic movement. They actually hurt the economic development, but actually the leading national economies in the world are Japan, South Korea, France, Germany, and others. Basically, and now China, right? So, however, they are reforming their economies to become more liberal. So this is the another way of mindset. Another theory is actually the economic structuralism. Now, the economic structuralism is actually composed of placed together about Marxism and independence. So the reason why Marxism and dependency theory are placed together under the heading of structuralism is because both are concerned with international division of labor created by capitalism. Both theories sees the division division of labor is unfair. Okay, it is unfair, creating what categories between rich, poor, and nations, rich countries and poor countries, or nations. So we're in the Marxist approach is what is to reject the capitalism what completely, while the independency approach is what to reform it. So there is two perspective about what is economic structuralism. So the Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, basically, were two German economists who created the huge body of literature outlining the theoretical technique of capitalism. So basically, the develop the developed these theories in the they developed these theories in mid 19th century, if I'm not mistaken. So the best place to look for details would be the Communist Manifesto in 1848, or the German ideology in 1845. If not, yeah, 1845. There is so much on Marxism that that this essay or this book is actually a scratch from the surface. Remember that this ideology is actually a political movement and revolutions to what that shook the world to 150 years, so well, it come to a shorter version. However, Marx and Engels is actually examined the advanced capitalist nation, so particularly the England and Russia. So these were nations in the middle of the industrial revolution. Manufacturing companies or industries was actually become booming. People were working in the factories, rapid organization began, and then while Mark and Eagles is actually advanced in capitalism, divided into a several classes. So basically, our people has two classes. So on this particular part, so there are more important, basically the owners and workers. So the division in the classification of people is already established from this particular. It's because Marx and Engels hypothesized that one day workers would realize that they are being exploited by the owners and rise up with overthrow by the owner, control to the society. So the owner control the society itself. So this would include that overthrowing the government of the country, because government main purpose was to enforce owner control to society. So now the Marx and Eagles felt that this revolution, workers' revolution, was a natural phenomenon. So something that would occur naturally in any nations or any state that reached an advanced capitalist stage. So they actually predicted it would happen the first England and Russia, and that happened in more agricultural societies, so such France and Russia, until much later in those nation histories. There are a lot of histories there that happened during that time. So after the revolution, in theory get uncertain, they would have several phases and of evolution until the development of communism. Okay, until the development of communism. So a society which would have this characteristics of communism, which is a system in which where no private property, so all property is owned by everyone, and everyone shares. So basically, there is no exploitation since the workers are the owners. So that's the theory of communism. Everyone gets that they need more, the society as a whole. So everyone contributes based on what they actually contributed or what they contribute. So capitalist ideas, such as the ideas of people that to gain to gain reward, okay, are outmoded. People actually to contribute do not care if they are no relationship between the key, okay, the give the society, and what they receive is returned. So young wealthier person is actually work who work like an ox, but but has no family contribution or a greater, a big family contribution. Big family has, less or deal, a great deal to society, but receives little, very little. So the lazy person is actually a large family receives actually a greater deal, even his contribution is in the society is quite lesser. Okay, so the next big theorist was Lenin, and also the Russian intellectual wrote an imperialism in 1917. At the end, they developed actually the Marxist and international affair. So this is actually the development of what concept of theories of IPE. So now they force people, okay, to slave labor. Okay, they steal resources, they dominated these nations, okay, to what, to talk about imperialism, colonialism, and what, at this point, world history in European nations had control about the entire rest of the world. Why? Because almost everything, okay, but the Western, hemisphere was under European control. So Lenin said that the poor nations would one day overthrow the colonial masters and reject the capitalism theory, the capitalism approach, because it links what to colonialism, okay, and develop the communist society. So that's why China is a communist society, communist state. So from this one, although the worker revolution can be created by a clever and committed leadership. So nations don't have wait for the revolutions to happen naturally. So the revolution can begin revolution in a nation and what and to other states. So basically that's the concept. Now, where these nations like. So basically, what was Marxism like is actually when actually put into a practice of what People's Republic in China, and the U.S. of Soviet Union, or the USSR. So basically, the Marx and Eagles thought that the revolution that government would weather away once having created the proper economic relationship. A government would not be necessary. However, it, in every Marxist state, the government become more powerful. On that particular point, power become more centralized. And what? The nations was ruled by one person, okay, handful, and what? Become dictators who ruled the totalitarian manner through what? Communist party, so apparatus, so penetration, every aspect of the society. So there's now another competition of politics and others. So the goal is actually was total control over every individual. So all of this nation's revolution was what rammed down into a people's in the society in the society. So those who are actually opposed in the revolution would have been seen a huge mass murderer, is that a successor, or any, or they are actually what? They are actually rival, or against to the government. So the number of death may be as a high as a million in 1949 to 1976, from starvation. This is actually the war post the war in Mao in China. So this is the very worst one. So mainly from execution, torture, and long, effect of imprisonment. So the ideology, purity was necessary to what? To the leaders. One party was what? Allowed to exist, and any ideas not approved to the Communist Party were what? May, uh, uh, were treasonous. Okay, I can say treasonous. So people were executed for what? Thinking the wrong thing. in most Marxist state, okay, the government tried to control what people thought. Okay, economically, these nations closed themselves off trade with other nations. There are no economic freedoms. So basically, so every aspect of economic life was controlled by the government. So decided by the government, uh, uh, regulated by by government, and this economic are pulled itself to the ground, you know, to the ground. People became more poorer, and they actually the richer become richer. So it's being actually it's actually a severe problem, okay, severe problem in Russia, in China, and other countries actually have encountered that. So in another one, and another one, the dependency, okay, the dependency theory is actually argues that the rich nations exploit the poor nations. So this is the different one. A while ago we were talking about Marxism. Now we're talking about dependency. So we're in rich nations exploit the poor nations. But okay, but this is not because of capitalism, because this is not because capitalism is so evil. Okay, so it is because capitalist needs to be more regulated, so it will more be what, be more just. So the problem is that the poor nations remain dependent on rich nations. Okay, so even after the colonial mindset, when the poor nations become free, their economies is actually uh, remain dependent on economic what economic technology of rich nations. So dependency theory, but see the world divided into two ways. So basically, so the nations have a clear division of labor. So this is how division of labor started. So basically, so we have the economic developed countries, okay, and also we have the less developed countries, okay. From this perspective, the problem is this. What is the less developed country produce is cheap, like minerals and farm product, make landowner rich, but not the people who work the land, and not the nations, okay? We're really what? Land for its source of wealth here. So even oil, the best of the primary product, because what it can lead to what wealth, often seen as a force. So nations who produce oil have tendency to rely on what? On their revenue. So basically, so never develop a manufacturing base. That manufacturing base, the high skills and high wage that go along with what? To make what? To make a nation's wealthy. So the economic develop what? The economic develop the economic developed countries is basically what? Um produce the manufactured goods. Then the less economic developed countries and economic developed countries trade, the less economic developed country buy expensive things from economic developed country. So basically, so the buy an expensive economic developed country is actually buy inexpensive things. So as a result, the economic developed countries make money, and the less economic developed countries go into what? Debt, right? So because they are paying more for the expensive product like aircraft, computer software, car, okay, healthcare technology. So that they are actually receiving more. They are what? Coffee, bananas, and oil. So the rich get richer, and the poor gets poorer. So this is the mindset, or this is the theory, the concept behind dependency theory. So the international rules that raise the product of commodities like oil, coffee, bananas, timber, kappa. So basically, it's regardless of how market forces the economic developed countries, we refuse to do this. Why? It's because the massive amount of the massive amount of aid is actually to poor nations. So most economic developed country refuse to do this because that forgiveness. So the economic developed country have agreed, okay, but it doesn't fix the problem because what? Because as soon as the old debt is actually is forgiven, new debt accumulates. So the percentage, okay, nationalization, government sized into a multinational corporations of economic developed country that operates the less economic developed country. So basically, the product of home control of multinational corporation is used to enrich the nation. So but the economic developed country don't like this kind of mindset or this kind of approach. So basically, they often retaliate with trade what embargoes, and even the attempt to what overthrow the government that doing because during the Cold War. The U.S. would label the government as a communist. Okay, some of them were as actually tried to overthrow the government, and also the import substitution, banning the import and foreign manufactured goods from economic developed countries. So like the computer and cars. So basically, enforcing what? Forcing the nation to make its own. So the economic developed countries might retaliate with what? Trade sanction. So in the long run, none of these strategies have worked. So that's why the multinational corporation, okay, or we call it transnational, okay, structural flow. Okay, they structured that concept, that ideology, that basically, as you have guessed, neither Marxist or nor dependence theorists have found actually are found in multinational corporations. So they are seen as the way rich nations exploit or dominate poor nations. So now, the mindset of globalization or the theories of globalization, this is another one. Because what? Globalization need to be seen as the historical concept. Okay? When World War II ended in 1945, the new era began. So the Cold War was a struggle between the U.S. and its allies, okay, and its allies, and what? And the Soviet Union, okay, and its allies. The economic standpoint was the liberals and nationalist economists versus Marxist economists, or relative free trade versus economist closed off to trade. So all of these countries actually, the world, choose one. So in an in what people actually call bipolar world. So nations were seen as neither communist allied or using command economies or allies of US with capitalist economies. So it has been, it was never been actually simply that there were some big exemption to this particular time. Like India was a democracy with command economy, so no dictators bringing the death in thousand, but a really creepy or crappy economy. China become more exemption after 1972 when the rivalry with the U.S. lead to what? To establish ties with U.S. war common. So economy. So the dangerous, okay, the case was less dangerous than the what? Because both US and China had one thing in common. They were both what? Both sure that spread of Soviet power was against their interest. So the what? The economic struggle was one over how best to what? To organize economic life. So, should nation choose capitalism or communism? So, capitalism ruled by the 1980s had become economic growth and technologically. So the telecommunication and information revolution, all the all the changes and benefits that computers brought, an economic revolution is important to what agriculture and industrial revolution. So the communist world missed the both because why? They would actually ever develop a computer, and since there was no reward for innovation and no incentive for research and development except fear for what? Fear for your innovation ideas may lead you to prison. So the computer revolution never actually hit the communist world. So like the China, so China is actually restricted some innovation. So actually they are not using Facebook because they actually they send Facebook is actually dangerous to their country. So basically, that's the prerogative of China. So the capitalist world generated wealth and innovation, and the communist world just generated shortage. So from everything and lack of productive ideas. So nations after nations beginning with China in 1978, so abandoned the command economies for some level of capitalism. So it moved forward to what? Capitalism and the Soviet Union collapsed. So the Cold War ended, and little by little, everyone moved toward the capitalism and what? Capitalism, what? Capitalism that grows more actually more liberal, actually more liberal every year. So along with this development was another one. So ultimately, it seems one strategy has worked to bring wealth to poor nations. So their economies to foreign investment become more what liberal, but what retain element of nationalism, certain for for some certain sectors. So the strategy, okay, that makes advantage of globalization protect some ideas from what? From globalization. At the same time, it has been led to what? Greater wealth creation. World history, it is the method pursued by the four tigers, which is Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and Hong Kong. So the only non-oil economies is actually uh, go far from poor and rich countries since World War II. So the strategy pursued by China since in 1978. So that the China is the world's fastest growing economy. India has been following. Yeah, I guess India is following from China. So since in 1991, so the best economic performance in its history is a strategy used by many nations in the world, and led to huge wealth and job creation. So basically, there are some exemption about this. So basically, the socialist or communist state, and also that have not reformed like North Korea and Cuba. So they are actually very conservative with this particular part. So the oil state that still have a command economies based on oil production. They are actually the nations in the Middle East. So states flirting with dependency remedies like Venezuela, Bolivia. Okay, but but all of these economies are doing poor, which much worse than economies, that have embraces globalization. During the Cold War, the issue whether a free market or a command economy was better to answer. It seems definitive. Free market worked much better. So they actually prospered while the command economies collapsed. So that may have answered the first question or the questions of a question posed. So basically, how does a nation generally or generate wealth? So the second question is actually still in the issue. What is the power or what is the proper role of government in economic activities? So this is something about the issues. It seems that almost all government is actually all state, okay, or in the world have decided that government should not control the economy, but how much regulate or intervention in the right amount, that is another question. So mm, having said, uh, it does not actually mean everyone believes that globalization is greater thing in world history. So basically, the answer to all the problem is some say yes and some say no. So the readings is actually the history speaks itself. So and also the phenomena speaks itself. So like globalization benefited everyone or just the rich. So that's another question. But basically, all of this, all of these questions, what goes to what globalization? It's because there are some questions actually even to until now. Some countries is actually questioning about globalization. Does globalization sacrifice the environment? Of course, there's an innovation. So of course, there is a sacrifice. So in terms of prioritization. So another one is globalization prevent the encourage of higher wage, enforceable labor standards. So it depends to the state if we're going to impose with a high standard in terms of labor, and what globalization may have everyone a little richer. However, that but does not what make rich even more rich than everyone else. So that's different. That's a question in globalization. Or can we develop a smarter globalization? So this is another big question that actually countries must answer and leaders must answer, because the leadership style, the hegemony style of every country depends how you manage, how you control actually the economy for your growth, for your nations, and you know for cooperations. So basically, IPE, the international political economy, plays a very vital role in terms of different aspects about communication, collaborative, and what cooperation in the international arena. From that, so thank you very much. So that's all. That is my presentation for now. Hello,
Hello, sir.
hello.
Thank you so much. Once again, Professor Bob A. Aguilar, let us give a virtual round of applause. Sir, thank you. We sincerely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be our guest speaker in today's webinar. Your presence and great words assisted us in amplifying our cause in the best way possible. Thank you for your interesting and informative words, which inspired us all in learning international political economy. Thank you so much, Professor Bob A. Aguilar.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure actually to be part of this international, webinar, international
Yes.
presentation. So So any
And
question, I'm open for, you know. Let's proceed to the next one, to the next phase.
all right, sir. But after this, we will proceed with the online quiz competition and we will see each other again for the question and answer. All of the
Okay, sure.
participants are all excited to ask questions and I can see all overwhelming comments. Thank you, Sir Bob. Thank you, sir. We agree with you. Thank you from Mary Rose Hiterosa. So, sir, we will see each other again later for the question and answer session.
Okay, sure.
All right, so to all our active participants, we will now proceed to the online quiz competition. All right, we're still here. All right, so it's time for the quiz competition. All of you are invited to join the quiz. Online quiz competition. Please click www.slido.com and the code is IGP quiz. It's already in the comment box below. Thank you so much and welcome Miss Ameline Katubay, Emily Refugo, Elvina Montalvo. Thank you all from NEU, Lizelle Cabaldon, Marvin Orquiola, Darlene Ramos, Ana Marie Joy Mercado, Marlita Nilo, Saima Zara, Evelyn Waperi, Ashok Kumar Adhikari. I can see all the familiar names. It means that you are really spending time with us every night. I can all the familiar names, Ma'am Evelyn, Sir Kumar Adhikari, Ma'am Emily, Ma'am Marisa Mitra, Anna Marie Choi, Carol Cepilio, Christina, Ma'am Cristina Del Rosario, Maribeth de la Cruz, Donna Faith Leu Wenceslao, Cristobal Natividad. First question, the form of voting system describes the level of decision process in the World Trade Organization. Is it a consensus or majority? And the correct answer is dun, 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 consensus. So it is the form of voting system in the World Trade Organization. Great job. In 1994, the Bretton Woods Conference created the Global Economic Organizations. Is it the World Trade Organization or International Monetary Fund? What is your answer? 77% answered World Trade Organization, and it is International Monetary Fund. Now let's proceed with question number 3. Carol Cepilio is our first placer. Congratulations. The approach to international political economy is considered free trade for enhancing the economic security of the state. Is the dependency theory or is it economic liberalism? 82% answered economic liberalism, and you are all correct. Thank you. Next question. The following describes the government international economic policies as mercantilist, which is not. Please choose wisely. 61% answered conquering another state in order to secure greater natural resources, but the correct answer is signing a free agreement with another state. Question number 5. In the current phenomena, how many countries have no trade barriers? Is it 10, 20, 100, or none? What is your answer? Is it 10, 20, 100, or none? None. And the 42% got it correct. Congratulations. Next question. This is the field of study describing the economic environment and political spectrum. Is it an international relation or international political economy? What will be the correct answer? 88% answered international political economy, and you are all correct. Thank you. You made the right choice. Next question. The international governmental organization are the key players in global governance or the world dominated by states. 72% answered key players in global governance, and thank you because you made the right choice. Sir Nong Lat Hoon. Next question. The liberals use this approach to characterize the international cooperation outside government to government relations. Is it supranational or transnational? What is your answer? Thank you all. Thank you for those who are answering in the comment section. I can see that all of you are participating too. Thank you so much. Hello, Camarisa Gumabong. The correct answer is transnational. Nong Lat Hitun is the first place in our leaderboard. The core assumption of globalist is that globalization theoretically increases choice of consumer goods for all, or globalization favors the rich. 'Mirasol Silaga, Sarah J. Agkawi, and Miramel Ulpat. I thank you for all your answers. And the correct answer is globalization theoretically increases choice of consumer goods for all. And now we will now proceed with the last question. Nang Lat Hitun is still the first place in our leaderboard, and now we made to the next question. The regional organizations have grown in numbers since the end of the Cold War. This is because they believe that problem can be solved at a regional level, or the best way is to increase economic well-being. 62% answered the best way is to increase economic well-being, and 38% got the correct answer. Problem can be solved at regional level. Congratulations to all the participants. Thank you for joining. And congratulations to the quiz competition winners top 10. Thank you all and congratulations. Especially to our first place Nong Lathitun. So they are the top 10 in today's quiz competition. We have the fifth place, Ashok Kumar Adhikari. Fourth place, Carol Cepillo. Oh, I will read the top 10, sir. The top 10. All right. So let us all acknowledge the top 10 of today's quiz competition. So we have the 10th place. All right, sir. That's too fast. All right, so congratulations to all the top 10. And of course, to Dwayne, Emily Refugo. Well, congratulations, Mom Emily. And to Sir Nang, Sir or Mom, congratulations to all the active participants. Now we will be proceeding with our question and answer portion. So we will wait for Sir Bob again to join during the question and answer session. Hello again, everyone. Thank you for always staying with us. And now let's have the question and answer. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask and type your question in the comment section below. So we are all waiting for your questions. And once again, Sir Bob, please open your microphone. Oh, we already have the first question for you, sir. So, to Professor Bob, can advanced states like US, UK, Japan, and some European countries become self sufficient? Is it ever economically achievable? What are the cons in this mode of development?
Okay, to answer with to the question, basically the advanced state like U.S., UK, Japan, and some European countries is self-sufficient, and then we are need to classify what kind of self-sufficient that we are trying to to say, because there are a lot of spectrum in international political economy. It can be a trading system, governance, or economic growth or wealth of its nation. So there are a lot of spectrum. So if we are pertaining only with economic, economically achievable, so basically this strong state, I call it strong state, the US, Japan, UK, all of these are strong state. They cannot actually self-sufficient. Why? Because they need product from other state, but to support their what, to feed their own what, their people. So for example, in Japan, what is the product lacks in Japan? So there is what need for cooperation, international cooperation, trade industry, trade policy, trade agreement in terms what, to exchange product, goods, and services. It's because Japan or other countries is actually needs workers. Like for example, U.S., Japan needs workers, Filipino workers to work there, especially in their healthcare, because most of the citizen of that particular country is actually don't want to work, that kind of particular sector. So if you're trying to say if they can be a self-sufficient, they can. It's because they made a cooperation, and also they actually entered into a government to government approach for them to what, to to sustain and also to support the needs of their state, of their particular country.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your answer. Thank you also for the question. And from Gina Lynn Villar, great evening, Sir Pab. Does the global economy bring prosperity for all or foster insecurity in division?
Okay. The global economy is actually brings actually prosperity for every. However, there's a problem. As what I'm saying here, there are some theories. It's because the poor or less developed countries actually struggled compared to the rich, more developed, country or industrial. So there is a power struggle in terms of economic conditions, and basically in exchanging product and services, tariffs are, tariff concern because the other state cannot afford the tariff imposed in the international arena, international community, because there is a some certain percentage that the international group is actually imposed this particular tariff in terms of different considerations that, like, international the United Nations. So the United Nations cooperation, there are a lot of spectrum for this particular agreement in global economy. So, and also the global economy, there are a lot of competition. There are a lot of interest. Okay, vested interest. So those countries actually supporting to one another is because they have their common understanding about their own agenda. Okay, so yeah.
All right. So
So yeah.
thank you, sir, for that, for clarifying that question for us. Right, from Sir A.K. Adhi queried to Professor Bob, how can a country overcome economical problems without sustainable education?
Okay, actually, every country needs a sustainable education. We, I really disagree that a country don't need this kind of education, because actually, we have actually the higher education sector, right, in international arena, wherein education can formulate policies, new ideal actually, to what, to support, to develop, okay, the problem, the for policy formulating. So basically, if the country is actually don't support the education system, basically what will happen to policymakers? What will happen to the leaders if they don't know how to handle case, how to handle risk, how to handle this economic problem, how to handle war, how to handle everything problem? Because in an international competition, international arena, you need to consider the actors, okay, actors of your state and also other state. So are you going to support one state, or are you going to support are you going to support to the right, or are you going to support to the left? It depends to your what, to your interest, your state interest. Now, without economic sustainability, basically the country will actually like a so-so, or will collapse maybe, or become more problematic in the near future, because they don't know how to manage, they don't know how to solve. And then also some of those are, they outright, the education, the imbalance of education, the high percentage of uneducated people in that particular country. So the increase of slavery, and also the poor, it might, because we all believe that if we are all educated, we can think better than normal people. So that is my stand. That's my personal stand. Since I'm also, I'm also working in the university, and as academe. Actually I promote educational sustainability.
I agree with you, sir, because all the application of this framework really improve learning outcomes when it comes to education. So it will depend
Yes.
also in the current status of the country. All right, so from Sir Ferus Akbarov again, what is the role globalization in the third world countries?
Okay, basically the globalization in third world country. Okay, this is the most actually crucial part because the third world country, there is a problem with accepting innovation factor, and also the support system coming from coming from their country's wealth, if they can afford, this particular innovation part of globalization, and also which policy need to what priority. So basically the globalization, I can say the role of globalization in any spectrum in the world is actually very plays a very vital part, because it we can actually conceptualize if the innovation of other country, if we can replicate and then apply it to what, to our own country, to what, to improve our services, product services, policy formulating, and also the leadership. Okay. Well, Philippines, I can say, is not a strong state, but of course, we are actually innovating. Okay, we are actually improved for so far from after 1986. So from this particular perspective, we actually replicate some idea in some theories uh, teaching about globalization, because we actually adopt, okay, the theories itself, and then we actually think that the lawmakers think, or the executive think that if this particular policy can actually apply to our, and then we can adopt it and then apply for everyone's good. So that's it.
Sir, I agree. Thank you. From Sir Lamberto Pilatan Jr., could countries around the world survive without trade and why?
Okay, actually this is my question, and then, this is the part of the quiz. If the country, if there is any country have a trade barrier, basically this is the connection one, because any country need what, need trading, need to trade regardless of what actually what you want to trade, goods, products, or services. So the country cannot survive itself. But why? You- let's have an idea that no man is an island. So if we actually players, there are a lot of players, and then you are actually going to left behind if you don't actually accept, innovate. You don't actually participate in a global arena. So I think you cannot survive. The country cannot survive without without trade, because what is the economic movement if without trade? Basically, in our histories, actually, uh, we actually started from barter. Okay, that's kind of trade in the old part, but now actually innovated into a digital trade. So countries without trade is actually cannot survive, because there is a needs. What we call in economics is unlimited human wants. Okay, people want to do this one, want to have this one, and in unlimited way. Okay, that's why trading is also innovating in a different perspective, in a digitally, right? So that's how innovation works.
Yes, sir, that's correct. That's why we already have the digital marketing, the chatbot
Yes.
automation. That's part of the trade. All right, from Maritas Rivera. How is political economy different from economics?
Okay. Political economy is, as what I'm saying, this is the concept, okay, the concept of political hegemony management. That while the economics is producing product and services, talking about what you can produce to your state, what can state, what the state can produce, and then in order to what, to have a economic cycle. While the political economy, there are key players, and also interest, leadership, interest, personal motivation. Okay, that's why there is a lot of corruptions. Okay, so now economics talking only about the the cycle of services, product and services, money, free flow of product and services in a particular arena or international competition or international arena or even, both local and national. But the political economy is quietly what wide because there is economic movement while others try to politicize and what influence the agreement or what the policy imposed by particular state. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And from Mirasol Selaga, how political economy interrelated to education, especially to schools, parents, and teachers?
Okay, actually, in 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 a university where where I'm teaching right now, it is very difficult, okay, to educate students, parents without understanding the foundation of political economy. Because the higher level thinking is actually outside the university. It's because that is the experience, that is the real world experience. Now, everywhere, first we need to consider that everywhere there's a politics everywhere. Okay, regardless where you are located, school, parents, teachers, relationship, okay, company, there are politics. Why? Because politics plays what vital element to control, to influence a particular decision. Okay, now the economy itself, the political economy, actually framed the mindset of those educated and also uneducated. Look at what happened to those people is actually to those people uneducated people. They are actually easily to influence those fake news because they don't understand what is actually what is the concept behind this. Okay, why someone try to influence your idea or your personality in a different way, but people don't just accept the fact, and it's a kind of very problematic part, especially nowadays.
Yes, sir, I agree. And also, the individual's choices of educational content are often shaped by the political economy of government policies. So it
Yes,
depends
exactly.
on
Yeah,
the country
yeah,
itself. So
yeah.
we can determine the incentives to acquire various skills depending on how and what is the
It depends.
status of
It
the
de-
country.
it de- it depends to the actually to the person if they are going to accept this or not, if they're going to recognize this problem or not. It depends.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for making it clear for everyone. Especially, I can read. So, Mamleya Madronio Octoman says, very thankful to you, Sir Bob, because we learned a lot from you today. So, that concludes the question
It's
and
my pleasure.
answer session for today. We are really acknowledging the presence of Professor Bob Aguilar from the Philippines for spending time with us with this learning webinar. Thank you so much, Sir Pap. We hope to see you again in the next webinar of IGP. Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Please always be safe.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you so much. And now we will now proceed to the certification process. So please take note that daily our certificate details, we only have one lifetime membership certificate in every session. And the quiz completion certificates, we only have top 10 in every session. Free international webinar certificates will be given to all our active participants. Note that. There is no relation between quiz completion certificates and international webinar certificates and webinar series certificates. Quiz certificates for top 10 quiz competition winners, international webinar certificates are for all active participants. Announcement: we have a free international webinar daily. Time fix 6 p.m., but for the Philippine Standard Time, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. Thank you to Joshua Gabriel Acala and Rhea Quino. Double bonus with regular webinar. Along with our regular webinars, we have also added webinars on every weekend, Sunday morning month of October. The morning session date will be on October 31 at 9:30 in the morning. God bless you too, Sir A.K. Adhikari. Triple bonus. Starting from October, we have webinar series program. You will get individual certificate for each webinar, and after submitting all certificates, you will receive a webinar series certificate. We are focusing with highly focused teaching strategies, research, assessment pedagogy, tools and techniques, professional development, and communication skills. Hello, and thank you, Ashley Kate Laksamana. Our first webinar series program, so we have 5 parts webinar series with the topic authentic assessment in teaching and learning. So we already finished the 5 parts of this webinar series, which held last October 1, October 4, October 7, October 10, and October 26. Our second webinar series program with 4 parts with the topic is Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment. And we conducted this webinar series last October 2 to October 24, and we're done with this. Many of us already completed this webinar series. Congratulations! Our third webinar series program with the 6 part webinar series with the topic Digital Classroom Engagement Tools. Part 1 was last October 11, Part 2 October 12, Part 3 December 3, Part 4 December 5, Part 5 December 10, and Part 6 December 18. So you can still attend the series of this webinar with the topic Digital Classroom Engagement Tools. Always welcome and thank you, Ma'am Elvie Nool Montalvo, Ma'am Julie Tiberio Valencia, and Nano here. Our fourth webinar series program with the 5 parts with the topic The New Trends in Education. Part 1 will start on November 21 and will end on November 28. Always welcome and thank you so much for appreciating Kamarisa Gumabong. Happy to see you too. Our fifth webinar series program with the topic Organizational Leadership and Managerial Skills will be on November 8, and the part 5 will be on November 30. Sir Adhikari, I think Nano here is already helping and assisting you. Thank you so much, Nano here. Our sixth webinar series program, it is very interesting. It's the trends and innovation in mathematics education, which will be held on December 12, December 13, December 14, December 15, and December 16. Yes, always welcome Ma'am Nympha Abawag. Thank you so much for being with us, Ma'am Nympha. And the webinar series certificates. For webinar series certificate, you have to attend all the parts of the webinar series for you to complete the webinar series certificate. Important note, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. And it's very easy to make an account. So why don't you try and creating your own account so you will keep yourself updated with the upcoming events of Institute of Global Professionals. You can join all our live programs from Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel, website. If anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can attend previous programs and webinars with verified certificates. For today's certification process, October 28th, today's program name is International Political Economy. For the certification link, is it https://eduigp.com courses International Political Economy. Certification link is now available in comment box and pin comment. Certification link will be available always in this program post, Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube description. So please don't forget, and that's the step two. Hello, also Paul Cypress. Good evening too. For the certification process, you can claim your certificate in two ways: direct link from comment box, pin comment post description, or if you're not able to click this link, please directly browse www.eduigp.com, www.eduigp.com for all information together. Find today's program. Then the process are the same. For today's certification process, step 3, browse www.eduigp.com or the given link and you will redirect in this page of our website. So please click enroll now and then you have to use the code to claim your e-certificate. Yes, Ma'am Nympha, IGP always miss you too. And I miss you too. If you are new, don't forget to create your own account. If you have an account, then log in directly. After that, find the seminar title and get enrolled. Important note, always remember that without an account, you can still visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. That's why we are encouraging everyone to create your own account so it will be easier for you to claim all the certificates and be updated with the upcoming events brought to you by Institute of Global Professionals. Yes, Sir Paul Cypress, good evening too. Again, October 28th, step 4, please take note of the following process. Today's program name is International Political Economy with the code. This is what we've been waiting for. Well, actually, I can read from the comment section. Most of you are asking for the code, and here you are. Thank you so much for waiting. The code is IGP 1030. And remember that without the code, no one is eligible for certificates. With code, of course, you can claim your certificates anytime, anywhere. Thank you so much, Kamarisa Gumapong, for typing the code in the chat box. Always welcome, Gwyn Ergobile. Ergobile. All right, so once again, this is the code for today's webinar, IGP 1030. So with this code, you can claim your certificates anytime. Let us learn and grow together with Institute of Global Professionals. With code, click Get Your Certificate. Type the IGP 1030 and the certificate code, and then click Get Your Certificate. And then here you are. Of course, you can have your certificate. If there's some issue right now, if you're downloading your certificate, it's because of the maximum users who's also using the website. That's why. Our free international webinar certificate is auto downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. Dear participants, if any problem raised while you're claiming your certificate or any other issues, please don't hesitate to contact us. Yay, congratulations, Sir Elmer Moralde, for getting your certificates. Yes, Ma'am Leia Madroño Octoman, always welcome. Our core team members are always ready in comment section to support you to find solutions. Well, actually, many are helping and answering. That's why we have to wait for the assistance of our sharer and all the participants. So for the IGP community facilitating officials, let us all welcome the Facebook page, Charisse Abejo Cabiros and Jeanette Cablao. Facebook group, Sherilyn Yamaguchi, Jonas Malingin, and Alonso Warren Carriaga. They are the facilitating officials. And for the YouTube channel, Kelvin Linato, Joel Danoog, and Jeffrey Sayat. Carmela Jean, always welcome. This is the upcoming webinar, October 29, Work Life Balance Professionally, from our speaker from the Philippines, Vanessa Pagaduan. Keep safe too, Angela Puto. October 30, 2021, different teaching modality with Dr. Manoj Saigai and Dr. Shelley Bist. October 31, 2021, Women on the Web, a study of women on YouTube with Dr. Sukhdev Singh. It is a morning session and it is already the 235 webinar of IGP. October 31 also, so this will be the evening session with the topic gamification, the future of distance learning from Paul Martin B. De Vera. So that's really great. And this is the webinar series of four parts, 5 parts. Part 1, November 1, and the part 5 is November 28 with the topic Teaching Strategies in the New Normal, which will be held on November 1, 2021. Well, welcome Maria Teresa Yambao. November 2, Educational Engagement with Brain Boosting. Wow, I think it's a really nice topic. From Dinesh Kumar of India. And November 3, 2021, Digital Classroom with Canva from Miss Juliet Bercero de la Torre. November 4, 2021, Importance of Students' Motivation and E-Learning with Puan Naraini Binti Yup and Dr. Joberito James. And November 5, 2021, Principles of Becoming a Leader with Molika Maharo and Coach MJ Dolan. I like this topic, November 5. And that's all for all the reminders and the upcoming webinars. Don't worry because all of this will always be posted in the IGP Facebook page. And in our website, you can also look for the upcoming webinar of IGP so you can keep yourself updated. So Repsen, I think your question will be answered by Nano here. So once again, don't forget the code IGP1030, and without this code, no one is eligible for the certificates. Thank you all. Camarisa Gumabong, thank you. And Palash Barman, I'm trying to read all of your names. It's just that, of course, we can't. But of course, all of you are always acknowledged by Institute of Global Professionals. So a little bit of summary from our today's webinar. So why do we think it is really vital to study international political economy? So it examines the people behind the numbers as well as the social consequences of economic policies. It's a fascinating and vital subject that focuses on economics, culture, and education, and political science, as well as the impact they have on society. Most of us here are educators and teachers or in school setting. That's why political economy will really prepare us all for a variety of roles in society. It prepares us to participate in the huge public debate on what kind of country and world we live in the future. There, dear aspirants of knowledge, thank you for being here with us. Please leave a review, check in, and recommend on our page, and share the link with your friends and community. Don't forget to get your e certificate from our website, which is listed below. We hope to see you all again in the upcoming webinars of Institute of Global Professionals. Such extraordinary patience can only be the result of diligence, persistence, and a firm sense of purpose. Congratulations to the IGP team and congratulations to all the active participants. And thank you always for understanding for always understanding us. So, once again, I'm your host for the evening, Lursha L. Pelaez from New Era University, Quezon City, Philippines. Signing off. Everyone, please stay safe. Bye bye. Have a great day and great night ahead.